The video, it's on video, yeah, not picture. Okay. No, you don't. You can't. I've seen it happen. Picture that. Oh no.
Don't mute yourself. You're being good.
What? It's fine. It's good. They say hello.
Too many cameras.
Two cameras. One's Zoom and one's. Okay. Okay, guys. A little recap on the end of last week. Thank you. Shir is a schis for Akiva Simcha Ben Fega, Aziva Hugin for Chav Basmer, Mahuv Basmer, and Dovdari Ben Pnei Perel. Beseder. Baruch, Zayeh Baruch.
Because it's speaking English as well.
Oh yes. Okay. So, perfect. Very good. So a quick recap on the end of last week, when we ended off on Thursday, was the last part. It was a full segment, and it spoke about the Maisa B'Tevi Avdei. It was speaking about Tevi, the Rabbi Gamliel's slave. And what we learned from that was basically that even from Sichos and Shel Tzadikim, you have to learn out stuff. Even not from when they're sitting giving shir. When Tzadikim are oisik and schmoozing, whatever it is, you have to listen. And you have to learn stuff from them, because everything they say, it gives us good tidbits and advice and things that are all about Torah. So now, Amar Rabbi Shimon Maaseh B'Tevi Avdei. This is the Mishnah part. So he says, Tanya, we learned in the Braisa, Amar Rabbi Shimon Misichasei Shel Ben Gamliel Lamanu Shnei Dvarim. From the conversation or the Sicha of Rabbi Gamliel, we learned two things. Lamanu She'avadim P'tur Min HaSukkah, V'Lamanu So we learned two things. One, that avadim are part from the sukkah, and two, that if you sleep underneath the bed in the sukkah, it's you gotta mute that part or something. I hear it. Now you need to. Okay, so. I'm about to say at least fancy story. So I have to be in the zone. Anyways, bottom line is the second. No, okay. Fine, no. So the second thing is, the second thing is that someone who sleeps underneath a bed in a sukkah is not Yotzei Mitzvah. So here's the story that I saw when I was prepping it, and I saw it by the Heilige Rebbe Ali. He was saying that the story goes as follows: there's a Yid who was a German Yid who was captured in Russia by the Russians, and a Russian, not the Tsar, whatever, somebody in that area caught him, and he was, they said he's a spy. Back and forth, we're going to kill him. The Chafetz Chaim got involved to advocate on his behalf. There were a lot of people there. They're advocating in court back and forth. They said, you know what, okay, we're not going to kill him, but we're not going to let him go. Even though it seems like he was not a spy, but we're not going to let him go. We're going to put him 10 years. So when they sentenced him for 10 years, the Chafetz Chaim turned to the guy and says, 10 years? They don't even know if they're going to be around 10 weeks. Or 10 years. So I think the story was false. I think the Brisker Rav was there, and he told other people, if the Chafetz Chaim said they're not going to be around after 10 weeks, you can be sure. He doesn't really just blurt stuff out. And Kachava, within 10 weeks, the commander, whoever it was that got him in to jail, he was overthrown, lost his position, and really it was all political prisoners, and they let everybody go, and this guy included. So you learn from if Duma is 8. The Sichas of Tzadikim, we learn good stuff from. Fine. So we're going back into it. It says it should say from the words of Rabbi Gamliel and not from the Sichason. It's coming to teach us something, a side note, meaning, like we said, that not just from the words, also their conversations we should listen to. This and some say Amar of Acha Barada, Amar Rav, Menuna Amar Rav, that it was Rav Acha Barada, the name of Menuna and the name of Rav. Minayin Shafilu Sichas Tamidei Chachamim Tzrich Limud. From where do we know that even the Sichas Tamidei Chachamim need to learn out from them something? Shenemar Va'aleu Lo Yibo, like it says, the leaves do not wither, like we said in that pasuk, the falling of a tree. That the bottom line is that people are compared to trees in the forest. The Gemara in Masechet Taina spoke about it. We learned we're compared to it, and each part of us, meaning from the root, gives out what's the last part is the leaves. Usually, that has the least coming out of it. So it comes to say a tzaddik who's compared to the tree. even his leaves that you may think falls and withers, no, it has valuable aspects to it. Okay, we're going to do the Mishnah, and in reality, I would have tried to, we'll see how far we could go, because I don't want to go too far, but it's really one flowing conversation. It's really two back and forths. Basically, the Mishnah is gonna say, well, I think so. I think that's where it's an easy flow. It's not that it's a bunch of words, but very easy. It's an easy concept. So the Mishnah really talks about, just an intro into it. The Mishnah talks about there's the Tanakama says something, and Rabbi Yehuda says another pshat, and then there's going to be two shitas in what Rabbi Yehuda says, and then a back and forth. Very simple stuff, and we're getting into sikka. We're going to be talking about a sikka, what's valid sikka, and so on. So the Mishnah says, someone who puts the schach, when it says sukase, it means the schach, bekar mita, on the bedpost. Ksher, it's kosher. That's the Tanakama's shita, it's kosher. Rabbi Yehuda says, psula. If it cannot stand on its own, pasul. Meaning, if it is connected to the bedpost, it's sitting on the bedpost, it's no good. It's got to be a freestanding structure. Meaning, it can't be that the bed, it's got to be its own walls, not part of something else. That's what he's saying. If let's say it's a bed, meaning it won't stand on its own, it's no good. Not if 3 legs, it needs to have its own structure. This bed that it's talking about is talking about, and Rashi says, a full bed, but doesn't have the mattress in it. There's no mattress. It's just the picture doesn't have it. The picture has it with the mattress. But the point is that it's not there, so you have the walls, and then the bedpost goes all the way up. It says if you would remove those bedposts, it wouldn't stand, right? It would just collapse. It has to be its own structure, and we're going to see inside now. It's going to ask. We're going to see the picture. Chavtes, page Chavtes. The picture is page Chavtes.
Structure as in what? Bed frame structure.
So you're going to see in a minute that the Gemara is going to explain different structures, and it's going to be very simple. So they do a decent job, but there's better. Over here. Right. No, it's not the sick. It's on top of the bed. That's a bed. The whole thing's a bed. Okay. All right. Okay. So bottom line is, okay. So now the Gemara is going to start. The Gemara is going to start. My time of the Rabbi Yehuda. What's the reason of Rabbi Yehuda? Why does Rabbi Yehuda say that it's possible? So we're going to have 2 reasons, and one of the reasons is going to go back to what we were just talking about. Rabbi Yehuda, keva, not keva, keva. So we're going to start. So pligi ba Rabbi Zera, Rabbi Abba bar Mamel. Rabbi Zera and Rabbi Abba bar Mamel, they argued in what Rabbi Yehuda's reason was. They're not arguing on the case. They're arguing in what his reason why he said it's no good. One says because it's not keva. Going back to what Rabbi Yehuda kept on saying till now, there's no keva to it, which means what? The bed. Meaning this sikka that is on the bedpost, the reason why he says it's no good if it can't stand on its own is because you move the bed, you're moving the sikka. We prefer to have stationary. Now, it does say obviously if it's on top of a boat, it's stationary to that spot. The bed moves around. It's not that spot. If it's on top of like a camel, it's stationary to the camel, which I don't know why that would be good, but it says over there. And over there means art scroll on bottom. Okay. So one says the reason why it's no good, why Rabbi Yehuda says it's no good, is because it's standing on a dover that's mekabel tuma. Now what's mekabel tuma? The bed. So in general, wood is not a problem, right? We all use wood for our sikkas. But here, the bed itself, even though it's made of wood, the bed is now something that's mekabel tuma. So that's going to be another reason why he says it's no good. So now the Gemara asks, "My Beinai, what's the difference between these 2 shitas? Why did one shita say? What's the difference between whether it's keva? Yeah, well, what's the difference between these 2 pshatim if it's keva or davar mekabel tuma?" So he gives the example. Kigoin shenatz, you planted. Shipudin is spikes. Shel barzel of iron. V'sika chaleim. So which means now what happened was someone took 4 spikes, planted them into the ground, you rolled the schach out on top of it, and now let's say you slid the bed in the middle, so technically it could look like it's hovering over the bed, which is what we're going to see, is one of the cases that would technically be fine. But why is it no good? Because it's mekabel tuma. Metal spikes are no good. So now, He's going to say, Liman da'amar lefi she'en lo keva. According to the man da'amar, it says you don't have keva, but about a case of the bed, harei yesh lo keva. You have keva. Why? These 4 spikes are in the ground. They're not going to move. You put them in good. Now the one who says it's a davar makabel tuma, harei mamida b'kud davar makabel tuma. You are putting it on something that's makabel tuma. So you see that technically there is a difference between these 2 shitas. If you were to go one way about the stationary, then this would be good. This spikes would be good. But if you went the route of makabel tuma, then it would be no good. So that's the difference between these 2 shitas. So now these next few lines are pretty much going to sound similar in repetition, but it's not exactly repeating itself. It's giving these examples. Amar Abaya. So now Abaya wants to further explain, and he says, this that Rabbi Yehuda said is pasul, lo shano ala samach. He's only talking about it's pasul if you put it directly on top of the bedposts, which means the first case that we said was this bedpost. The bedposts go all the way up, like we saw in the picture. If you put it directly, that's a problem. But if you put it on top of the bed, it's kosher. Now, what does it mean on top of the bed? Like we said, instead of having the 4 metal posts, let's say you had 4 wooden posts, and it's right above the bed. So the picture over here is a better picture, technically. And it says also that it's not on the bed posts, it's over here. This picture, it's hard to see. I thought that they would have it, but they don't. I'll put a picture in the chat after. But basically, there's 3 beds. Rashi explains. One, they're all standing. A bed is normally like this. Now the beds are like this. So they're all standing like this. You put 1, 2, 3, right? And now you have an iron, or not iron because it's wooden. It would be davar makabel tuma. But you have a wooden frame that it's sitting on top of. So it's not sitting on the bed directly. So it's not davar makabel tuma. And it's a wooden thing, so it should be fine. And this is the description that Rashi gives. No, if it's metal. This picture shows metal, but it's not. It's not supposed to be metal. It has to know, because if it would be metal is the davar makabel tuma. So now, if it's directly on top, by the way, that's why I have I think it's the lightest sukkah, is the one that the canvas. So the metal thing, but they sell it with bamboo's thing. You put the bamboo on top, and then you put the schach on top of the bamboo, so it's not sitting directly on the metal. So, 2 more lines. So he says, if it would be like that, it would be kosher. Now, my timer. What's the reason? Leman da'amar. Now, what's the reason why that's kosher? Leman da'amar lefi she'en lo keva, harei yesh lo keva. Leman da'amar mipnei shemamida b'davar makabel tuma, harei ein mamida b'davar makabel tuma. Like before we said, it is on something that's makabel tuma. Here not, because it's on wood, not on metal, and it would be fine. A quick chazar on this part. We'll do it a little quick, and I'll try to catch the words that I would think are different than standard. The Mishnah says, someone who puts the sukkah directly, when it says sukkasai, it means the schach, directly on the bedpost. Ksher, it's kosher. This is according to the Tanakhama. Rabbi Yehuda says, if it cannot stand on its own, pasul. Now, my time with Rabbi Yehuda, we want to understand. Rabbi Yehuda, you're saying pasul. Why? What's your reasoning? So we have 2 reasons. And Pligiba, Rabbi Zera, Rabbi Abba Bar Mamo. These 2 Amirim are arguing on what he said. One says because there's no keva, it's not permanent in the spot, it's movable, and we want for sukkah to be permanent to an extent. Because you're standing it up on bedavar makabel tuma, on something that's makabel tuma. Now we want to understand. Very good. There's 2 shitas on Rabbi Yehuda says. But what's the difference between the 2? My binayu. So we give an example. What do we say? We plant into the ground spikes of iron, and you put schach on top of them. According to the man Amar that said you want it to be permanent. Okay, it's permanent. It is on something that's makabel tuma. Why? Because it's metal. So now Abaya is going to further clarify. Amar Abaya, Lo shanu, this that Rabbi Yehuda said is no good, is only ela samach, only when you put it directly on the bedpost. But if you didn't put it directly on the bedpost, and I saw that they asked a question on this, Shkoyach Abaya, what are you saying? The Mishnah says that's fine. So clearly says it's okay. The answer is, it says search all the Rishonim, but I didn't get to that, so don't have the answer. But he says that's a question on him. We don't know. So he says, that would be kosher. My time. What's the reason? Because there is, according to one that needs it to be keva, like we said, it's planted, it's like hovering over, and it's stable, it's in the ground. But according to the Manda Amar that says you're standing on something that's Mekabel Toma, it's on the bed frame. Again, it's not on the way that it would be directly on the bed frame, therefore it's okay. Rabbi says, keep chazering, and have a wonderful evening.